welcome back to Alpha Mama Get Obsessed with Success podcast. That's what we are all about here at Alpha Mama. And this year we are looking at the creation of self-discipline, right? So we're up to, I believe it's episode 4 now. And basically I shared previously with everyone my personal journey where I had been really on a great streak for a long time, and then last year I really fell off the bandwagon. I put on easily like 7 to 10 kilos, had a lot of, it's like midriff stress going on. And I've decided, 2024 is my year, and I'm going to get back on track. I'm going to stick with the theme of self-discipline because discipline is the goal. And if we have self-discipline, we have everything in life. Self-discipline is everything. It is your ability to get up. It is your ability to overcome. Most essentially, it's self-love. It's a demonstration of self-love, which is something that I had previously mentioned. That's one of my struggles in my life journey is, issues with self-worth, and that's something that a lot of people struggle with. And if you've been on this show before or you've tuned in previously, you'll know that the way that we find out how to do things in life is we like to read books. So today the book that we are reviewing or that we're looking at is actually, we're sticking on the Robin Sharma theme, but I think next week I'm going to move away from Robin Sharma and look at some other versions of self-discipline. And a big part of why I plan on doing that is while Robin Sharma is fantastic in the core messages that he sends in terms of leadership, and he has a very sort of corporate bent. However, I do find his style of writing, because he writes the messages via fable or via storytelling, it can be sort of quite taxing or dull when you know that at the core of the story he's telling you a message. I think if he had like an analogy, if he used examples that were more realistic, or stories that sent a message, like when we went to Kakadu last year, we had a tour from some local Indigenous park ranger, and he was of the tribe that lived in that area, and he was showing us the stories, the rock paintings, and explaining how rock paintings are basically, they were like school for young children, and in that there was storytelling, and the storytelling was like, basically don't go to the water or the crocodile will eat you. They're very tangible stories that lead to your survival. Whereas I feel as though Robin Sharma, he sends the messages through story, but it's not story by example. It's sort of like he's wrapped it into these sort of convoluted fables that are sort of irritating at times to get through. So that's just my personal opinion. You're welcome to disagree with me. The 5 a.m. Club. Why would I read the 5 a.m. Club when I'm trying to cultivate self-discipline in my life? And the reason why is because I would like to get up at 5 a.m. I saw this sort of, meme or short on Instagram the other day, and it's some sort of Navy SEAL guy, and he's like, if your alarm goes off at 5 a.m. or at 4 a.m., then get up, get out of bed, get up, because every time you hit the snooze button, you're basically breaking a promise to yourself. And one thing that I've learned in terms of self-deception over the years, or promises that we make to ourselves, is that whatever you tell yourself, you believe. And so having integrity, like when it comes to self-discipline, when it comes to discipline in general, when it comes to integrity, when it comes to getting things done, all of that starts with ourselves. You know, if we're going to have integrity with other people, we have to have integrity with ourselves. And we have to, when we make promises to ourselves, actually carry through and show up for ourselves and stick with those promises and follow through and be accountable to ourselves. Now, the big problem with that is a lot of us lie to ourselves, a lot of us aren't accountable to ourselves, and you know, it's that age-old saying, you know, if the tree falls in the forest but no one's there to hear it, did it make a sound? And you know, that's the reality of life, is often a lot of us are weak. We're weak and we are not self-disciplined, and we do not have, you know, boundaries of steel, and we do not have discipline of steel. And so we don't show up for ourselves. And the way that we can tangibly and realistically show up and be accountable for ourselves is by having an accountability buddy, like actually having someone else who we've got to show up for, because we're far more likely to show up for other people than we are for ourselves, aren't we? So if you've got a partner, that could be a really great place to start if they're interested in also becoming more disciplined in their lives and achieving more. But yeah, if not, then you know, it is about cultivating a will of steel almost when it comes to accountability and self-discipline, isn't it? So, and this is the dilemma, or the thing that I chew over in my head, and which is why I find this a fascinating topic for 2024, self-discipline, is how do we cultivate self-discipline within ourselves? How do we find the motivation to be that person, like who shows up, who gets up, who doesn't break all the boundaries and the promises that we make to ourselves? Because I find I often make all these promises to myself, and then I am emotionally weak and I break them again and again. So what does Robin Sharma tell us in the 5am Club? So he talks about looking at the great history makers in the world, generally speaking, and the 4 focuses of people who have done great things in the world. And what he suggests in the 5am Club is that these people who have achieved greatness in their lives, they focus on materialising their habits, working free from distractions, continually improving towards mastery, and consistently winning day after day until they reach excellence. Now, if you've ever spoken to like a top performer, or you know, an Olympic athlete or whatever, what you'll soon discover is that, you know, excellence is showing up every day. It's being consistent, and it's showing up every day, whether you're having a good day or a bad day. But the consistency of showing up every day is actually what creates excellence, you know, because you're practicing and you're practicing and you're practicing. And some days you're going to be off, and some days you're not going to get it right, and you're going to be a failure. But you still show up anyway. You still have the perseverance and the fortitude to show up and do your best to your ability on that day. And what, you know, Robin Sharma really kind of stresses in this book and he stresses in his writing is this, these small incremental decisions that we make every single day of our life slowly and but surely build up to a tidal wave of change in our lives. And why do we care about all this in the first place? And that's something that's always critical for me to stay in touch with, because I often think, okay, cool, focus on materializing their habits, talents, la la la, but why do I care? Why am I going to bother even trying any of this? And, the answer ultimately to that is death, is that you are going to die. And you're going to die a lot sooner than you realise you're going to die. Life is fleeting, life is short, and this is all there is. Whatever your life is right now, if you walk out that door tomorrow and you die, that was your life. So stop giving a shit about what other people think, and actually, for the sake of your own soul, your own passion, your own purpose in life, just, I don't want to say give life a go, but just go for it. You are amazing. And I like that about Robin Sharma, is he, instills in you again and again, everyone has something amazing, an amazing gift or some treasure within them and a purpose. And that's why we're here. We are all here. Like, the fact that we're even here is mind-blowing. And to actually embrace and step into your higher self and have the fortitude or the daring to go on that journey of actually stepping into the challenge that's being presented to you, whether it's like a wild storm or a smooth sailing ship on a lake. Like, at the end of the day, if you don't do that, if you don't go down that pathway of fire and put everything into who you are and what you're meant to be in this life, the likelihood is you'll probably die just with regret, just with thinking, oh, that was it, that was my life, and we'll all die anyway. So, and that's really what motivates me to strive for self-discipline in my life, is I realised, you know what, I don't know when I'm going to die. I could find out I've got cancer tomorrow. I may be well and truly over halfway through my life, and there's very little time there. So I just want to relish in what there is and make the most of it. So he talks about habit installation and protocol, and that is something that is what this is all about. So self-discipline is about achieving freedom. If you can achieve self-discipline, you have freedom in your life, and then you have the freedom to enjoy your life and truly love your life, because you know that you have integrity, you know that you have trust with yourself, and you can show up for yourself, and you can be reliable for yourself. It's a very powerful base or foundation to life to have this self-discipline. He suggests there's a 66-day period for our brains to adapt to a new routine. And so when we're trying to install a new routine in our life, that we need about 66 days. And he often talks about this, like it's hard at the beginning, messy in the middle, and then good at the end, and sort of chunking it into 3 sections of 22 days. Look, I don't know if there's any science behind any of this, but at least Robin Sharma acknowledges that when we're trying to make big changes in our lives or develop self-discipline or create changes, that it's going to be hard for a while, but after a while it gets easier. And the reason why that's really important to note is because in terms of cultivating new habits, what Robin Sharma argues, and I strongly agree with this, is that we all have a limited bandwidth or capacity to deal with shit. And if you wake up in the morning and you spend your whole morning scrolling through social media and by the time you get to work or by the time you start your day, you're in mental fatigue. One criticism I had when I worked at a law firm quite a few years ago now, the receptionist bought this new kettle, and the kettle had like 10 different buttons for different temperatures of water. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is mental. Like, in terms of and this is something that we will probably talk about very shortly. In fact, next week's topic is going to be minimalism. In terms of creating efficiency in your life so that you can be self-disciplined, so that you can be a smooth rolling, well-oiled machine, what you need to do is cut out unnecessary decisions, because you only have so many decisions in a day that your brain has capacity to deal with. And if you're wasting all of your decision-making power on things like what temperature of water I want my kettle to make, well, when it comes to actually making efficient, meaningful decisions, you'll probably be mentally fatigued by that stage and make poorer decisions, So cutting out the amount of decisions you have to make, it goes a long way. And with things like minimalism, that means like cutting down the amount of clothes you have to choose from. And it's amazing how taking decisions away from your life creates mental freedom and space in your mind to actually do other things with your life, which is amazing. So the third thing that Robin Sharma talks about is the 20-20-20 formula. So he suggests that in the 5 a.m. club, what you should be doing is starting with intense exercise for 20 minutes, so doing the hour of power in the morning, and then doing 20 minutes of reflection and solitude, where you sort of do meditation and kind of reflect or create space in your mind for where you're going to go next in your day, and then spend 20 minutes growing on growth and education, which is like reading something or learning something new. One thing that he strongly adheres to and promotes in his book, which I've just talked about, is to spend your first hour and a half of your day free of digital distractions. Now that is something that I really, really need to try and implement in my life, because as I was saying before, I've been good in the past with not scrolling in the mornings, but quite frankly, I can easily get up in the morning today, get onto Instagram and scroll for like 2 hours and then be like, oh my gosh, I've got to go to work. It's so easy to do. And AI is so powerful. It knows exactly what's going to capture your attention. It knows everything about you. It knows when you breathe, sneeze, think. It knows when you go to the toilet. It knows everything. So don't trust AI, because AI is going to manipulate you to stay on those platforms and just distract you in these little 10 to 15 second segments that just capture and suck you in. Next, 4, 10 tactics of lifelong genius. That was to dedicate the first 90 minutes of your day to things that matter most. So doing the hard things first in your day, or focusing on the important things in your day and not switching on your phone. Turning your phone off for an hour and a half. We can all survive for an hour and a half without our phones, and that is something that I will try implementing in my life. So, how is my personal... That is Robin Sharma's book, and how is my personal self-discipline journey going? It's going well-ish. So 2024 is looking really up for me. I've been focusing. One thing I've personally found, and tell me if you have other techniques, but I find that being prepared and prepping is really, really, really essential to creating a smooth flowing week. So what I often have struggled with is like I end up being late for things, but the reason why I'm late is because I'm leaving the house, but then I'm like, oh, where are my keys? Where's my purse? Where's everything that I need? And I'd given myself enough time to get there, but I'm like, I've given myself enough time to get there exactly on time, not time to like park my car, get out of the car, find out where I'm going, time to like get my stuff together that I need for wherever I'm going. So that's like an extra 15 minutes that you need to add on there. And I never think like that, you know, like I'm always like on the fly, like, yeah, I'll get there on time and it'll be fine. So that's something that I'm working on, is actually being prepared and having things prepped in their places, ready to go in my car, in the house, so that I can have like grab and go bags when it comes to meals, having meal prepped food so I can grab and eat and not think about it too much, but still stay relatively healthy, so I'm not like snacking outside of times. And then have things that I need to show up to and be accountable to. So I am finding that I'm on track and I'm staying on track at the moment, but it is an ongoing journey. It's not easy, it's a struggle. So that is my story this week. Next week we're going to talk about minimalism and how it ties in with self-discipline. So it's been awesome chatting to you guys tonight. So I'll put all the details and notes about the 5am club into the podcast blog this week. And until next time, over and out. Bye.